Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Red Talk, your favourite football fan channel made in Manchester. How are we all feeling after we've had time to digest that result yesterday against Brighton? Of course, any negatives, couple of positives coming out from the actual performance in itself. We've actually had a little bit more negative news about bissaka being potentially injured for 2 months, which I'll dive into later when I'm talking about the wing backs. But for now, I want to focus on purely the negatives coming out from that performance and things we definitely need to work on. Hence the thumbnail and the title being pros and cons, Manchester United versus Brighton. Obviously, we do reviews after the game where we're a little bit reactionary and emotional, and we're just basically saying how we feel about the game at the time. This is more when we've had a chance to go back, have it, notice certain things, and really do a bit more of a deeper analysis, if you will. So if you guys are with me, get your comments in the comment section, leave a like on the video for us, and subscribe to Real Red Talk if you haven't done already. Any comments, of course, I'll read out as always and try to interact as much as I possibly can with you lot. But look, I have to be open, honest, and vulnerable here. I couldn't really. I was sat there before. I was like, sometimes you're just in a bit of a mood and you had a shit day, or not even necessarily a shit day, just the fact that you just don't feel great in yourself. And the last thing you want to do is go in front of a camera and talk to the camera and interact and blah, blah, blah. But sometimes when you actually do it, you feel better. It's like anything in life. You push yourself to do it and you do it. So that's just, look, if it comes off across to the camera today or whatever it is, then I do apologize. But look, let's just dive into it and focus on the football for now. So Marcus Rashford, I wanted to discuss first and foremost. He had heavy criticism yesterday because of his work rate and intelligence off the ball, and I think it's something we definitely need to discuss. These Rashford pressing issues are becoming more and more evident for me, especially in the big games. Lack of effort and intensity in his pressing, pretty shocking. He doesn't know how to close off certain passing lanes. He doesn't know when to double up with players. He half-arses it sometimes. He doesn't force errors. And when a player's, when the player isn't on the same hymn sheet, it just the whole thing completely breaks down. You cannot have a successful press when one player is at 50%. That video footage that came out of him yesterday, totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. When you're watching it back, he's literally walking. He's just watching it go past him and walking. And their first goal come from that. If you're a tiny bit more aggressive in that, you probably win the ball back or force them to go a separate way. It's about the after effects that has, you know what I mean? So that is a huge criticism of Marcus Rashford, and his selfishness as well is another thing. I didn't even have that on the list to talk about, but if we're going to discuss Marcus Rashford in general, we need to speak about his selfishness on the ball, because sometimes you're absolutely begging him to square it. There was a situation with Højlund on his left foot, could have drilled it across. Højlund scored a very similar goal when he was at Atlanta. And a winger squared it for him, and he scored from the exact same position. Højlund's in the same position. What does Marcus Rashford do? He seems to have this kind of tunnel vision where he's not focusing on anybody else and just goes for the goal. He needs to be less selfish, because when you got a striker like Højlund in the middle, to be honest, I kind of half don't blame him, because I look at the strikers that he's played with over the past couple of years. Martial's never there. Ronaldo was throwing his toys out the pram, and both of them are selfish in their own right. And then Vegas is just dung, innit? So, in actual fact, the reason why he got that many goals was probably because he's selfish. But he needs to change that up now. You can't have a striker like Højlund as the number 9 and not play him in. Do you know what I mean? What Rashford is doing is, if you've got an orchestra all playing on the same hymn sheet, let's say we've got 5 players in this orchestra, very small orchestra. Let's say you've got 5 players. One's on the violin, one's on, guitar, one's on the harp, whatever you want to call it, right? Rashford's there on the violin. Do you know when someone's out of sync in an orchestra and you can just notice it straight away? That is him in the press. He needs to be much better, and we need to do better as well as a collective. So Marcus Rashford was someone who I wanted to discuss straight off the bat, because he had good parts yesterday. Obviously, he got the assist for the goal that got chalked off. He beat his man every now and then. He was doing some good things, but there's traits in his game that he just cannot seem to get out. And it's worrying for me at the minute. But look, he certainly wasn't the worst player on the pitch yesterday, but he has got habits that is so irritating. Brian Casey's in the chat. Big up to Brian, saying, appreciate your honesty, Nick. You always seem to bring 100%, but can completely understand not wanting to do a live after the week we've enjoyed as United fans. Yeah, not only just the result, which is obviously depressing and kind of ruins your weekend as a fan, everything that's going off the pitch with United and just in general around it. And then you have stuff in personal life that's just So look, you didn't want to do it, but the reason why we've got this channel is to interact with you people and talk football, so we can kind of distract our minds off it. So yeah, that's where we're at. Speaking of mentality, it's kind of giving me the perfect segue onto the next thing. So this is just the cons at the minute. I'm going to touch on the positives towards the end because I don't want to end on a sour note. It's I want to start with the negatives, end with the positives. Mentality issues. When we go behind, we are fragile. We've shown in so many games now. This group, lacks mentality. Seriously lacks mentality in certain situations. Yes, they've come back like Nottingham Forest in that game. We obviously went 2-0 down. I don't know what that noise was. Someone sent me a heart or a Twitter badge or something. I think it is. Just got the #1 gifter badge. Thank you very much, sir. Sean Gold, what a legend. I was wondering what that noise was. Dave's in the chat saying midfield seems to be the problem. No protection for the centre backs from the change of system. I'm going to dive into that. United in the mud, someone's saying. Manchester United are over, not good anymore. Just admit United aren't getting top 4. A lot of salty fans in the chat. Bring it on. Bring it on. Keep typing, mate. Keep giving that engagement. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, the issues. The Forest game. Obviously, we came back from that 2-0 down. It was Nottingham Forest. So it was kind of like, right, okay. And it was at home. So we kind of had to do it. But the other games, when we go behind, there just seems to be this running theme of flakiness about the squad. I don't know what it is, but I was looking at the stats before, right? We've conceded 10 goals already, lost 3 out of 5 games, scored 6. That's where we're at the minute, and we're in the bottom half of the table. This is supposed to be an improved mentality after a more robust season that we had last season. We went through the absolute ringer last year, so I was expecting us to have a bit more toughness about us, a bit more wittiness and edge and smartness about us in the game, and it just never came to. It hasn't come to fruition yet. I don't know what it is. There's a number of issues going on at Manchester United at the minute. I will soften that with the fact that we also haven't had the rub of the green yet with things like VAR. Obviously, the Garnacho goal, if that goes in against Arsenal and the lines aren't, skew if or whatever they're drawing it with Stevie Wonder with a permanent marker or whatever. Maybe we win that game and your luck changes. You go into the next game with more confidence. Same thing with Rasmus Højlund. That is like very fine margins. So close. Rashford squares it. Højlund's first goal. The stadium are in uproar. And we're back into the game and we're back on top of him. If that doesn't get given, again, the luck goes against us and we're sat here twiddling our thumbs thinking, fuck's sake. So we haven't had the rub of the green, but equally people will say, well, it swings and roundabouts because under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we had decisions for us that were just like, sometimes you look at, I think I remember one, was it Bruno Fernandes against Aston Villa or West Ham when we got a penalty and he basically stood on the player and then fell over. Little things like that. So it is swings and roundabouts. I'm not blaming the fact that we lost the game yesterday just purely on that decision. But, we haven't had the rub of the green at the start so far. So that's something maybe to think about. Midfielders, Dave mentioned it in the TikTok chat before. The midfielder performance is worrying. Multiple situations in every single game where we are not tracking runners. If you look at all 3 of our goals yesterday, it's all the wingers on the side. They cut back to a midfielder or an attacker who's free and no one's tracking him or, touch tight, which is just basic football in Sunday League. No one near him and they tap it in. The first goal comes from the right-hand side, cuts it back. Danny Welbeck scores. The second goal, is it Patrick Grobe, the second one? Or Yao Pedro? I think it's Patrick Grobe in it. The second one, left-hand side, cuts it back, finishes. And then the third one was Yao Pedro, and I'm pretty sure that was a cutback, if I'm not mistaken. And then you look at the Arsenal game as well. Similar position, Ødegaard, they play it back to him. Who's not tracking the runner? Christian Eriksen, again. So midfield not doing their job. They're not quick enough. They're not physical enough. And this is why we were so desperate, and probably why Ten Hag's desperate to get Amrabat into the squad, because we need him. We need him. We need that physicality. We need that smartness off the ball. Eriksen's great on the ball. He's good at conducting. He's he's really, really good high level. But off the ball, his defensive work is shit. He can't mark a man. He's not great in a tackle. He can't keep up with the players when they have these quick transitions. He ain't the guy for that midfield. He can be when you're playing a low block and you've got, 80% possession, 70% possession. But Brighton are a very good team, especially in possession as well. So you need dogged-like players in that midfield, also with technical quality as well. So that's that. Whilst we're sticking with the midfield, Bruno Fernandes as captain. I don't know where I go with this, to be honest with you, because I don't want to be too critical. But let me talk to you for a second. If Harry Maguire had put in the level of performances that Bruno had been doing, over the past couple of games, bar the Nottingham Forest game, because he was actually pretty good in that, he would be getting absolute pelters. So I'm not going to have double standards here and not criticise Bruno because I like him as a player and I actually think he's a very good player, one of the best in the league. But you can't honestly sit here with an assessment and tell me that Bruno Fernandes has been good for the start. You can't. I'm not having it. I don't care what anyone says. The first, we played 5 games, so 4 or 5 games so far. We've played Wolves, Spurs, Forest, Arsenal. But yeah, 5 games so far. He's had 1 good game. And we've played a couple of big teams in that run up. Apart from that, he's been shocking. I know yesterday at points he was at centre back and then the 6 and then the 8, and he was doing a job all around. And I appreciate that. But if you're a captain, you have to be putting in levels every single game. No excuse when you're the captain of Manchester United. And he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good so far. I'm willing to discuss that with anyone and put your comments in if you disagree with me. I think he's been pretty shit at the start of the season. I really, really do. Whether that's a long-term effect of last season from when we played so many games. And I mean, Bruno Fernandes had the most minutes in Europe, I believe, didn't he? What was it? Was it 3,000 or something minutes? The most in Europe. Like, the guy's ridiculous. Never gets injured, always fit. And that's what you want. Availability is the best ability in that regard. So with Bruno, I don't know. I just feel like he needs like a month out, come back refreshed, fighting, ready to go. Because now he looks drained, he looks frustrated, and it's having an effect on the team as well. And I've seen him moan more than I've seen him get a goal or an assist or an important goal. Is he the only goal he scored is a penalty, right? Has he got an assist this season so far? I don't know. I don't feel like it's going well with some of our big players in general. You look at Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez have dropped off a cliff. 2 of our most consistent and best players last season started really sluggish. Don't look at it at all. Casemiro's just slow to a lot of stuff. I said yesterday, it's like he's still in La Liga mode. Like when he receives the ball, he thinks he has more time than he does, and they pinch it off him all the time and gives away attacks. He was amazing last season. The United were absolutely taken back by how good he was, Casemiro. And Lisandro. Lisandro was a 7 out. Every time we did the ratings on the review after the game, we was absolutely bigging up Lisandro every single time. 7 out of 10 again. Fantastic. Look at him on the ball. Unbelievable. But even in the tackle at the minute, seems a bit sheepish. I don't know if it's the injury. Maybe it is. Less productive on the ball, losing some of his duels. I think that injury is still a concern with Lisandro Martinez, and I think he might be playing for it a bit. Because why didn't he get played for Argentina? Was it just a precaution? I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, Brian's saying it's always good to talk. Don't understand people calling for Ten Hag to walk or get sacked. He's the right man. We just need new owners. When Bruno gassed off on a day off, he realised he had an off day. When he's good, he's unplayable. He is, but that's the issue. When he's good, I want him to be good in the big games. We're United. We should be setting for the captain the highest standard. Bruno ain't fulfilling that at the minute. I get he's important to the team for his tactical intelligence in game and his experience and his ability when he is at his best. But I haven't seen that so far. He needs to step it up. I'll read some comments out on the TikTok. All them idiots who are just rival fans trying to wind me up. It's not working, so I won't be reading them out. Box says Rashford's not that guy. Well, I spoke about Rashford at the start. I think it's interesting. There's a lot of people drilling him at the minute. And there's been long-term United fans who haven't been happy with Rashford for a while. A lot of people said when he gets that 350 grand contract, his form will drop off. I said at the end of last season, and you can go back and watch the videos, he is a purple patch player at times. So sometimes he can be unbelievable, and then he goes missing for a while. He scored 1 goal so far this season. It was a pretty good goal. But apart from that, again, he's breaking down our attack in important moments, and he needs to. I don't know how it's taken this long to not be unselfish and just square it, play the simple pass, because you get back in the game then, and then we're talking about something completely different. So yeah, away from Rashford, Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez are a worry at the minute. If we're going to have a successful season and a successful campaign in Europe, they need to be at it in the Champions League and the Premier League and the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup and whatever comes next after that. 100%. Next, I want to discuss just the last one out of the negatives. Anthony Martial does absolutely nothing when he is on the pitch. I don't get the point of him being here. Genuinely. 12 touches, 0 dribbles, 0 shots. He's an absolute passenger. He needs to be moved on. I don't get why he's still at the club. Oh, I do know why he's still at the club. It's because his wages are 250 grand a week and we didn't have a striker. until we brought Weghorst in January. He wouldn't be nowhere near City's team. It would have been sold a long time ago. Same with a lot of the other clubs as well who are successful at the moment. He's a passenger. We're carrying him. We just need to get rid. I just don't see anything from him when I watch him play football. I could go in there and just walk about and make it look easy what he does. He does. I described him the other day as like, you see them like young mums on a walk and they've got them two weights in the hands and it's kind of like a fast, but it's not quite a jog, but it's kind of like a fast paced walk and they're just like that. He does that all game. Just looks disinterested, just not asked at all. I want that on my club. I'm sorry, but I don't. Darren Everton, evening, guys. What have I missed? Just the negatives from the Brighton game. I've gone through them. A bit of an analytical look. More than welcome to scroll back if you want to watch, because there's quite a few. Box says, time for Ten Hag to ring the changes, and we've nothing to lose. Start Pellistri and Hannibal. I'm going to talk about Hannibal shortly. Box says, Martial's like an old man now, barely moving, no pressing, weak, passive. That's very good analysis. Neil DeScroll says, play Pellistri instead of Rashford. He'll never do that. Ten Hag would never, ever, ever do that. I'm telling you. The way we're playing, if it keeps going the way we're going, it'll be a relegation battle, says Chris. Sad to see a club like United. I think Ferguson has got a lot to answer for. Elaborate on that point. I'd love to see what you mean. I genuinely see us mid-table this year. How can you sell in wage too high, always on DRS table? Yeah, true. It's the Glazers' fault. Rashford is lazy, no doubt. Shut up. Decent burger van outside the ground. I'm not going to dive into it. Negatives and positives. Decent burger van outside the ground. Casemiro needs to lay off the pies. You know what? He's actually shredded though. Casemiro. Have you seen him? This sounds a bit moist from my end, but there was a picture of him in training with his top. The guy's absolutely shredded. I don't doubt that he's ill-disciplined off the pitch or whatever. The guy's a nerd when it comes to football. He's just not with the tempo at the minute, and I don't know if it's ever going to come. His form's dropped off. He hasn't had one good game yet, Casemiro. Maybe there's other reasons for it. It's not just him. It's the defense. It's the attack. I don't know. But he hasn't been great at all. So they're the negatives. We're going to park them for a minute. The reason it's pros and cons. You see the title of the thumbnail, pros and cons. We spoke about the cons. Let's start with some positives. I always want to end with the positive. So this is my personal opinion, the positives I'd taken out of the game yesterday. People might call me crazy, especially for this first point. But if you don't agree, that's what we're here for. It's all about opinion. Reguilon was one of the best players on the pitch yesterday. Agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. For his debut, he was actually really, really good. Bombing up and down that left-hand side. In his duels, he was fantastic. He was 7 out of 10 ground duels yesterday. He was great going forward. And that speaks volume of the game. That speaks a lot, doesn't it? When you think about Serge Reguilon, who can't get in Tottenham's team and played like 11 games for Atletico Madrid and was one of our better players yesterday and has never played with a team before. That was his debut. 2 of the debutants yesterday were 2 of our better players. That tells you everything you need to know. We have mad depth now. When Malacia and Shaw are back, we have mad depth. I don't know how they're going to give them game time. Obviously, Shaw's out until November, I think, and Malacia, no one knows what his injury is for whatever reason. They're just being a bit discreet about that. So no one knows when Malacia is back either. But when Shaw does come back, it'll give him a run for his money if he played like he did yesterday. I'm really so surprised. Honestly, watching it, I was like, is that Reguilon again? Bombing up and down, the energy, the consistency. Loved it. So that was a positive for me. I'm not as worried about the wing-back spot, even though I don't know if you guys have seen this news yet. Wan-Bissaka is injured and is out for 2 months. That might be breaking news to you, but there's an account on Twitter, right? I don't know how. This is United. This is how much we leak like a sieve, right? There is an account on Twitter right now with about 600 followers. I wish I could get his name up. I can't because the phone's on there. But there's an account on Twitter with 600 followers that have been putting out consistent statuses and a tweet, that have been absolutely bang on with Manchester United. And he's just put out again, Wan-Bissaka out for 2 months. Heard it here first. And then people like Goldbridge are retweeting it. Other people in high up in the football kind of chain are retweeting it and stuff. So Wan-Bissaka injured for 2 months. That's an 11th injury. Wan-Bissaka is missing, or absentee, if you will. Wan-Bissaka, Malacia, Luke Shaw, Varane out already. We're only 5 games into the season. You've got Sancho and Antony missing because of other issues ongoing. I mean, this club, man, it's crazy. Crazy at the moment. At least Chelsea are flopping. I know, but does that give you comfort? I don't know. I actually don't mind Chelsea, to be honest with you. I mean, I always like it when an opposition's losing, but I don't know. I didn't expect huge bits from Chelsea yesterday. They had a huge overhaul, so it's going to take them a few years before they're competing again, even with the money that they spent. Box says Reguilon looked like one of the few who didn't suffer from MUFC PTSD. Hey, give it time. Give it time, Box. He'll be there. He'll be there shortly. Dan Emerson says, yeah, Reguilon was really good. Shane Rashford didn't play as good with him. Agreed. Brian Casey, Eric Ten Hag will sack before that. He won't walk Brian, but they will sack him. I hope they don't sack him. I don't want Eric Ten Hag to go. People will be blaming him now, and some of it's understandable because of the in-game management yesterday. I'm going to get onto that. So I don't want to go too much into it. Højlund. Let's discuss Rasmus Højlund. I think they say they pronounce it, innit? Looks promising. I mentioned before, it's a shame Rashford is a greedy bastard because he could have had a goal or a second goal if the other one didn't get chalked off. I think once he gets a run of games with a consistent team around him, he can be dangerous. But one thing for Højlund that I do not want is for him to be dragged into this environment and dragged down to the same behaviours and inconsistencies as some of the players that are at the team right now. Because he's a bright talent, he's a bright spark. He needs nurturing. He needs service. He's got the physicality. He can hold up the ball. He can switch up our game. He can run in behind. He's got it all. It looks good. And something else that was impressive as well, I was looking at his metrics yesterday. Ground duels, he had 8 out of 9 passes complete. Hold up play was great. His ground duels was really good as well, winning a lot of his battles. So off the ball, he's really, really good, which is one of the reasons why Ten Hag would have brought him in. His engine to keep going. I know he was only on for 60 minutes, and a lot of people were moaning at the substitution because Martial walked on and carried on walking. And I understand that. It's valid, but he wasn't fit enough to play 90. Ten Hag said that after the game, and people said they didn't believe it or whatever. It's bullshit. I doubt he would lie about bringing him. Why would you bring him off? You wouldn't. If you knew he was fit, you'd keep him on the pitch. Obviously, that'd be a stupid decision just to take him off for no reason. So I think Højlund looks promising, which is maybe something to get excited about. I'm excited to see how he performs against a proper team, and not like Brighton isn't a proper team, but in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. That's an exciting game. Hannibal as well. His goal was another positive. Really, really happy for him to get his first senior goal for the squad. His first Premier League goal. Just a shame, it was an absolute rocket, but it was just a shame in the circumstances in it because the goal meant nothing. But for him to come on again, a lot of people questioning that substitution. Why is Casemiro coming off for Hannibal? And I was doing the exact same thing at the time on the watch along. But Hannibal comes on, scores a goal. You can't complain, can you? Obviously, he's not going to start against your Bayern Munich or anyone like that, but he seems to suit the system that Eric Ten Hag wants to play, that aggressive, high-pressing, transitional style. He is kind of like the perfect mold for it. And I was, again, metrics again, 6 out of 6 passes, 4 out of 7 ground duels. Not a bad cameo, considering he only had about 20 minutes and didn't much more than fucking Martial did. So, yeah, speaking about the first 20 minutes, great. Again, how many times every single game? Spurs, first 15, 20 minutes, fantastic. Wolves, was it Wolves first 10, 15 minutes? Fantastic. First 20 minutes against Brighton, looked really, really good. Was nullifying them. Great tactical approach. We set up the diamond to force them wide so they couldn't play through the middle. And we was affecting them. We was breaking their build-up and it was working. But then as soon as they figured us out and switched it up, Ten Hag didn't have a plan for it. And so many times last season when we had an in-game tactical tweak to make, he would do it for the better and we would go on to win the game. I remember in the Manchester City game at Old Trafford when Kyle Walker and De Bruyne just had loads and loads of space on that right-hand side. He made a tweak on that, came out second half, much better. We'd go on to win the game at Old Trafford 2-1. But that's not just the only one. There's been loads of games where he's had an effect on it. And yesterday, I was just waiting for that. Okay, you set up from the start for 20 minutes. You disrupted the way they wanted to play. They switched it up. Deserved it because he was what he did was good. And then there was no kind of reaction to it. There was no, do you know what I mean? You were just waiting for something. Come on, do something. And then even the subs, everyone was disagreeing with. So he got it absolutely wrong for me yesterday. But the first 20 minutes looked really good. I just wish we could do that for the full 90 minutes. But again, it's the same narrative. Like, this has happened under loads of managers before. The exact same narrative. Oh, we were good with the first half, but we were shit the second half. Oh, we were really good the second half. First half was poor, though. Why can't we just have a full 90 minutes where we're really good? Is that so hard? You know, you've had a year under Ten Hag now. So, yeah. Moondog says people need to take into consideration that a lot of the top team players are jet lagged or just playing tired after the international break. Look at the shocker McAllister had for Liverpool. Sam saying he shouldn't. We should stick with him, but current ownership to manager will fix this. Casemiro would be no different. Things won't change until the ownership does. That's, again, I agree with that. Deserved it. Love it, Box. Love it. Make sure you leave a like on the video for us, by the way, as well, if you haven't done already. And subscribe to Real Red Talk if you like the analysis, you love the content, and you like YouTube and you just need something to listen to, whether you're in the shower, in bed, on commute to work, or you're just chilling, doing fuck all, like myself. Jean Malman says there is a... Oh, what's that? Number 2 gifter badge. Thank you very much. I'm hearing these noises. I have no idea what's going on. I'll read out some comments on TikTok in a minute. I thought someone joined the live then. I was like, how the fuck's that happened? Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Where was he at? Yeah, sorry. Jarman Malman, there is a player in Reguilon. All the mess we would have been in if not gotten this player on loan. With Wan-Bissaka out for 2 months, United is cursed. Brian Casey said, Theo Von said it best. Love this quote, by the way. This is one of my favourite quotes. Theo Von, nothing changes until something changes. Is it not? I thought it was nothing changes until nothing changes. Is that... I thought that... Is that not the quote? You might be right, Brian. I don't know. Do you know what else is another good quote as well, whilst we're being all philosophical? You are not the main character in everyone's story. Take that home with you. Let that sink in. You are not the main character in everyone's story. Let's let that sit. Anyway, wing-backs. Kind of touched on it already. It was another positive. I thought collectively, Dalot and Reguilon yesterday were really, really good. I thought, again, in the Arsenal game, Dalot shut Saka down. Wan-Bissaka dealt with Martinelli great, 2 of the best wingers in the league. Mitoma dealt with him. I thought it was fine. Dalot did well. So that's a positive to take. Even though we're kind of injured in that spot, Wan-Bissaka's gone now. Luke Shaw's gone. Malassi is gone. But we've got Reguilon and Dalot, who seems like they could do the job there. So maybe that's why Ten Hag started him yesterday, so they've got that kind of... Well, Dalot would have already had the fitness, but Reguilon certainly needs to get up to that point so we can start against Bayern Munich. I mean, we are absolutely knackered now. If we get another injury at that wing-back spot, we are done. We're going to end up playing Lindelof at right back, or it's just going to be a nightmare. So I'm praying, everyone pray with me, we do not get another injury to Dalot or Reguilon, because just call it quits after that season if it does. The start to this season is just cursed. We've already lost 9 points already. 9 points. That could be the difference sometimes between top 4 or a title or whatever you had in mind. So worrying times for Manchester United. One of the last things from the positives that I want to discuss, Onana ain't the scapegoat. For all these people that are criticising Onana, because there was a lot of people aiming criticism towards him last night, which I just couldn't get my head round. Even people in the comments whilst I was doing the watch along saying, I've not seen him make a save. I'm not seeing him do this. I'm like, he made some great saves yesterday. Was I watching a different game or something? But people were giving him absolute stick yesterday. And then you got idiots like Goldbridge who's saying, I said you should have kept De Gea. I was there. I was saying it. It was like, why? Why? Did you not watch him last season, De Gea? How many fucking errors he made and how many games he lost us? Is everyone just, we short-sighted or short memory? We've got memory loss or something? He was shit last season. He made some great saves, but you also had the Everton situation near post where it went through his legs. You're like, oh my God. The Ben Rama shot at West Ham where it P-rolled past him was just shocking. He was shit in the FA Cup final. He was shit against Sevilla, the mistakes he made in there. He can't play out from the back. He's very limited. We needed to bring Onana in. Onana cost £40 million. He's 27 years old. He's still learning. He made some fantastic saves, and he's helped us significantly in the first phase build-up. Tell me something I'm missing, please. Please. I don't get it. Honestly. You could bring Pep, Haaland, and Mbappe in, and we still wouldn't finish first. No, because they'd be injured, Sam. Box says Van der Beek as a false right back. Is that even a position? Oh my god. Van der Beek. Wow. He'd probably get injured as well, wouldn't he? In fairness. God knows where he's going to get game time. The amount of midfielders we've got. If Hannibal was getting on yesterday, we've got Casemiro, Kobe Mainoo coming back, Amrabat, Christian Eriksen, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, Donny van der Beek, Hannibal. Dango was in the squad yesterday. Probably someone else who I'm missing, who I've not even mentioned. If someone's pinned a comment, oh, thank you very much, Brandon Robertson. Subscribe to Real Reds Talk on YouTube if you haven't done already. What a legend Brandon is. I am live on there at the minute. We've got a members video dropping. It's been recorded. Jadon Sancho from the streets to the Stretford end about his climb to where he is now, sat at home on FIFA probably. But yeah, from his time at Watford Academy through to Man City, then he's moved to Dortmund and then to United. But everything in between, quotes from the coaches, from family around him and stuff like that. Because obviously it's very relevant in a minute, stuff going on with Sancho. So I thought for the members video, we'd do a video about Jadon Sancho. Oi, oi, bro, says Aidan. What's up? How's it going? Dave says McTominay. Did I miss McTominay? Did I really? It tells you everything you need to know, innit? Other areas needed strengthening before goalkeeper was his point. I'm not having this discussion. It's back and forth about Goldbridge. I agree with Mark. We need to sort outfield out before the goalkeeper. Well, what positions? Elaborate on that, and I'll happily discuss it. Bobby Boy says, can't remember the last time you had a good striker. Well, Rasmus looks promising, but if we're being, completely transparent, he should have been alongside with another striker. It would have been expensive, but you should have had Harry Kane in and then a young striker to kind of mold into that. Now we're just throwing a young striker in there and hoping that he has a good return. It looks good. It looks promising. He's already scored a goal technically, even though it was, very, very fine margins. He could have had another one if Rashford would have squared it. So I'm not worried about Højlund. I think he will score goals, but he does need time. I'm not listening to no criticism at the minute and no bullshit like that. So yeah, it is what it is with that. But yeah, look, conclusion in general, this is where we round everything up. Fine margins in football. The game is about fine margins. I mentioned before, we haven't had the rub of the green yet. VAR has been questionable in certain situations, but it is swings and roundabouts as well. A lot of people are worried because we've only got 2 wins out of 5, and rightfully so. One of the worst starts. Again, last season, we lost the first 2 games, then I went on to win 4. Will the same thing happen? I don't know. People might disagree with this, and this is controversial, and people are going to call me an idiot for saying it as well. But I think we beat Bayern Munich on Wednesday. I think it's just one of them games where people are writing us off. I think we go there, we hit them on a counter-attack. We absolutely see it out, struggling to see it out. But I think we either go there and get a draw. I think we go there and get a good result. Let's just put it like that. And I'll take the banter for it. I'll take whatever it is. But I think, yeah, to be fair. Lol, great impression of Goldbridge, to be fair. I mean, it's not hard. You just have to sound like a bit of a whiny kid, don't you? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That's all you've got to do, sound like Goldbridge. Adam says Nick McTominay made 17 passes in 90 minutes and completed 15 in midfield. Horrendous. He made what? 17 passes in 90 minutes? Okay, no. Didn't he? He only had like 20 touches as well, didn't he? Crazy. Also, hide behind a Brighton player instead of marking his man. I think he's on about McTominay. Shah Sam's in the chat. Big up to Shah Sam. Hope you're well, mate. Had Donny van der Beek had DVB had to comment and say his time will come with everyone going down with the injury and he'll take his chance. I know you're a huge fan of Donny van der Beek. I'm with Shah Sam. I hope he works out. Seems like a lovely lad. I don't think he will personally, but you have been his number 1 fan. If anyone deserves a letter or a signed shirt from Donny van der Beek, it is Shah Sam, without doubt. Useless ghost of Ibar. Are you all right, bud? What's he saying? McTominay does better for Scotland. Well, it's international duty, isn't it? So you're always going to do better for Scotland. Who's signing the players at United because they're doing a poor job? John Murtagh and Richard Arnold are in charge of transfers at United. Ask any United fan what they think about them, and they'll speak their mind. Kane will run riot. Okay. Centre defence, central midfield, right back, right wing, loads of positions. Well, right wing was hard to see. You can't spend £150 million on 2 wingers and say that you need another winger. Like, what we're doing there? Central midfield, again, we've got 8 midfielders at the club, so we need to ship some out as well. And then, what was the other one? Central defence, I agree with. We should have got a Kim Min-jae in. We should have brought him in. because he would be playing alongside Lissandro. Not like Lindelof's done anything necessarily wrong, but I just would feel a lot more reassured with Kim Min-jae alongside Lissandro at the back, because I think he's a top centre back. But look, we were shite, weren't we, in the thing? Aiden says Glazer's out, bro. That's the main message. Rival fans will tell you we're not allowed to shout about our owners and moan about them and get Norwich scarves out and all that kind of shit. But ultimately, everything comes from the top, and they are responsible for things that happen at Manchester United. When you own something, you are responsible for everything that goes on at that club, because it all stems from the top, one way or another. And I just don't know what to do at this point, to be honest with you. We just got to focus on games, try get results, try get everybody back fit. I'm pretty sure we got a new doctor, didn't we? Didn't we bring in a new doctor and the injuries have just got worse? He needs sacking straight off the bat. Bring somebody else in, because he's done a terrible job. Yeah, that's where we're at. Scoreboard. If we're going to play a diamond, we need different type of fullbacks that come in to help Casemiro. The ones we have overlap the wingers. I think that's a fair point. Brian says we were never going to make massive improvements when we signed so many loan players at the end of the window, because the owners won't put their hands in their pockets. I mean, scrambling about for Amrabat at the end of the fucking window was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Shocking. I mean, you got City signing Matheus Cunha. Cunha? Is it Matheus Cunha? I feel like, no, I've got his name wrong now, haven't I? The player from Wolves, anyway. For 60-odd million. You've got Chelsea was signing Cole Palmer, I think 45 million at the end of the window. Other team, Liverpool spent, was it 43 million on Gravenberch as well? And then we're sat there saying we'll give you 1 million plus $1 million in Jan for Amrabat. We're United. We should be dominating the transfer market. What are we playing at? Idiots. Absolute idiots. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. That's been the pros and cons of Brighton. We lost, obviously, 3-1. A lot of negatives, a couple of positives to take out of it. But we move on to the Bayern Munich game at the Allianz Arena in the Champions League, back in the Champions League on Wednesday night. I'll be doing a watch-along for that game, so make sure you come and join me. We'll have a review on Tuesday to discuss that. I'm not sure when the press conference is, but we will be covering that. We've got 2 members videos dropping in the next couple of days, and we've got new shows and other stuff alongside that as well. So, like I said at the start of the video, wasn't really feeling great to come on, weren't in the best of moods, headspace all over the place with certain things that are going on. But I'm glad I came on. I'm glad I've spoken with you guys, and we've had a good chat about football, etc. So, look, I think we've got one more game left, haven't we, of the Premier League thing. Bobby Boy, how come I've just been muted on TikTok? Oh, I'm not sure. It might have been one of the moderators, Bobby Boy. If we can one of the moderators on TikTok please unblock Bobby Boy? I don't know if he's putting a certain comment, but usually he's okay. He's a Liverpool fan, but usually he's all right. We have a bit of back and forth, but yeah, I'll get that sorted, Bobby Boy. Anyway, I think your profile pic might be it's a Liverpool fan. Yeah, no, but it's fine. It's fine. We're having back and forth, having like genuine conversation. He weren't being a troll or anything. So yeah, I can't remember where I was at in a minute, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that, guys. Yeah, appreciate every single one of you. Please leave a like on the video for us if you haven't already. Subscribe to Real Reds Talk and keep an eye out for the content coming your way. Yeah, take care. Peace. See you in a bit.